Okay, great. Okay, good. Mainly, I would like to ask mostly about your career, how you started filmmaking. So I'll just ask some questions and yes. So my first question would be, so you graduated from London Met, having obtained 2 honor degrees in professional studies in education and LLB, and now you're a film director, producer, actor, and you own your own media company. So my question is, how do you link one with the other, and what made you pursue filmmaking? And how did you start your career?
Okay, very interesting question. Basically, it was born out of my passion for storytelling because I've always loved films and stories, and I followed a lot of mentors that inspired me into film. But even though I was my first degree is in education, so I used to lecture in a college. I like to kind of work. I'm a people's person, more like. So, but I've always had that passion to go into entertainment, acting, producing, and so when I finished, I started my own company, Benalex Media, and we started off doing things like shows, like fashion shows, talent shows, and we were just encouraging people to work together. So they do things like showing off their talents, showing off catwalks and things like that. So that was more of my entry level into the entertainment world. And then at a point, I decided, okay, I'm ready to make a short film. So I uh, went to a course by Robert McKee, the person that trained Quentin Tarantino and the rest of it. So he came and he did a story log in London. So that was a full day for 7 days intensive. So I attended his classes and I learned a lot of insight into how to tell a memorable story, even if it's a short film or a feature film. But I understood the underlying subliminal symbolisms that you need in a story. From there, I went on to do another course with Dove on directing. So I got certificate for that. Still, I wasn't that fully confident. So I went to rain dance uh, training that they run in central London. And again, that was on producing and directing. So by the time I gathered all that, uh, in addition with my passion, I decided, okay, let me have a go because there's no point acquiring all this knowledge if I'm not going to practice it or do something with it. So I wrote a short film called Phantom of Fury, which I produced it myself because obviously I've been able to run this program with fashion shows and talent shows. So I kind of already have a bit of asset, network that I can call on and say, okay, I want to do this, and then we'll jump on the bandwagon. So we put together the short film. I wasn't really thinking of going anywhere with it. It's simply for me to do a short film and learn how a short film is done. So by the time I finished the short film, I got quite a bit of interest from industry professionals. And I had a story written for me by David Soames of Great Heart Films. So he wrote the story called Forget the Pact, which is another short film. That other short film I produced and directed, and that was my first work as a director, and my second work as a producer. So in these two projects, I did not act, I did not play any acting role in them. So by the time I done Forget the Part, which is the first project I've done that somebody wrote, and then I did it, and it's like second project. I learned a lot from the second compared to the first. And with that, I felt, okay, I cannot keep on doing short films because short films don't necessarily give you money. I need to look at how to monetize my projects to make sure that I can, get return on my investment. I didn't really pursue other people's projects where I'm asking them to give me a role or give me this so I can learn from them. I simply led from the start where I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. And I did start doing it. So I then went on to do my first feature film called Ortega and His Enemies. And that was a full-length feature that really gave me a lot of insight in working on a bigger production with a bigger crew, bigger cast, and the whole process. So whilst I was doing that, I launched a TV series called Take 101. So Take 101 is a documentary miniseries where I invited industry professionals to come and talk about filmmaking so they can give insight into how to avoid making mistakes. So whilst we are filming Take 101, I'm also learning from them behind the camera. So I'm listening to them, even though I'm doing a show, but I'm actually learning because they are providing this information free of charge. And we are working together. And from there, I made quite a number of friends and contacts from them because they want to talk to upcoming filmmakers. They want to share their ideas. They want to share their knowledge. But at the same time, I'm learning from them. And then I'm packaging everything and then I put them on TV. It was running on Sky TV. And a lot of people really responded well with the Take 101 insight into how to make films. And they really put together and they enjoyed the episode. Again, I was the one funding because as the executive producer. And with that network, I leveraged on the network to make my Ortega and His Enemies first film. So some of the people that you see in Ortega were people that came just for the Take 101. And from there I say, yeah, I've got this project going. If you want to jump on it, they say, yeah, by the way, anytime you're doing anything, I'm here for you. So I built network from Take 101 and I made Ortega. Do you want me to continue?
Yes, of course. I have some more questions, but you can tell me more about Take 101.
Yeah. So we carried on building Take 101, which obviously, by the way, is on my YouTube channel, MA Benson. So I put all the episodes. But before I went to YouTube, I actually was sending the episodes to TV stations. So it was running on different TV channels. It ran on Sky, TV channels based on Sky. So I was shooting series by series, and I carried on making contacts. After shooting Ortega and His Enemies, I then went on to shoot Return of the Dawn, which is, I would say, my most impactful movie so far, because it really brought me out there, basically gave me a huge number of awards. I was able to premiere it at the British Film Institute, IMAX Cinema, Odeon IMAX Cinema, which is in Waterloo. And most people cannot afford to take that venue. I closed down the entire cinema for that Saturday. Not, it's all mine from the whole day. Nobody went there for film. It was just my day. It was a very serious day. And all the pictures are on my website, so everybody see what we've done. That time it was quite amazing. So it took me to Cannes, took me to LA, took me to different film festivals. I won accolades of awards from that film, which is my second feature film. And since then, I've always opened myself up to working with other people now in other people's projects. In my Ortega, I only featured in one scene as a judge in a court scene. And then in Return of the Dawn, I featured more as a police detective, a DI. I played the role DI Mills. And with that project, I've also written a whole new book on Return of the Dawn, which will be coming out in a very short time, within few months, because it's being edited now, and then we'll launch the book and it's go deep into the whole characters and everything that comes out of it. And I'm also looking to help and encourage filmmakers to start turning their films into books. Normally you write a book and you can adapt it into a film. But this one is more like a reverse engineering, where I've done the film, I understand the characters, I know them very well, I can relate to them. Then I went on to write about them in more detailed way. And there are certain stories that could not even fit in on a 90 minutes movie. So there are people that love, that they love reading. They don't even bother about films, but if you give them books, they will read and read and read. So I'm looking to target those audience as well and bring them to my film through my book. So I'm encouraging some producers, if they've got film that is worth, changing, they can look at that film again and write a book out of that film, because there are a number of audience who are not film lovers, but they love books, that you can attract them to go and actually see the film. Because once they've read the book and they really love the book, they'll say, wow, if there's a film to this book, I want to see the film. So that's another dimension anyway. So at the moment, I've got 2 projects in development. I'm looking to start shooting again since after the COVID-19. We're looking at August to go into full production. So right now I've stepped up the development stage. I'm starting to cast, starting to get the crews ready, the crew ready for getting the line line producer, director is already intact. So starting to build that project to get ready for August. Another project I have is looking at between London and South Africa, 70% in South Africa, 30% in London. Again, it's another screenplay that I wrote, which deals with xenophobic and certain elements of how to deal with the bad by the good legends. So here I am. So I manage through time management, good time management. That's how I'm trying to cope, to do all this stuff. But passion is another good thing.
Sounds really amazing. I want to ask you about your media company. How was the process of building it, and did you do it by yourself, or other people helped you?
Okay, so essentially what I done is I rented somewhere in Walthamstow when I started off, just a small room in a business center. And that place is where anyone that wants to see me will come and see me. Excuse me. So what I was doing with the media companies, I hired a film editor and people that want to do an event will give us the contract to shoot their trailer, their commercial, and then we did commercials for people. And we also, I had a couple of presenters. Then we go to shows and we film the shows. We, interview people. We come back to the studio, we cut it, then we give back to them. They pay us for covering the event. So we're covering the event and doing jingles and commercials, like 30 minutes, 30-second, 60-second commercials for people. So we are doing that, and it was just helping to fund, to pay for the rent and pay for the people that I hired. But eventually I decided that place was a bit too small. So I found another studio in Docklands, and then people were then hiring. So I put together a studio photography. So they were hiring from me to do photography for models and sometimes music videos and different things like that. So that's how I really functioned.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you did some courses to get into doing your own films, but do you think it is essential to go to a film institute in order to become a successful filmmaker?
Yes, you do need to have some background training. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do like a PhD in filmmaking or masters, but you do need to do a course, that helps you to understand the basics. It is a kind of profession. And if you haven't studied, you'll be too underskilled. You're more of the practical because you've seen people doing it, but sometimes you need to understand why they are doing it and the theoretical elements of it, and it helps you to really understand the full dynamics of what you're doing as a professional. So I would recommend that people do some kind of course. Maybe it's level 1, level 2. But if they really want to do like mastery, that is even good. If they have the time and they can afford it, then awesome. You can go ahead and do it. I've had people that they've asked for my letter of endorsement for them to, or recommendation, if you like, for them to apply for a mastery, you know, course in a university. So, and some of them are people that I've worked with in a project, you know, and they later on needed me to use my company to write a recommendation letter for them, which I have done in the past.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Your film, Return of the Dawn, it was a big success for you, and it was nominated for several awards and won also some awards. And what role have had the film festivals played in your life so far? And were they necessary, and how do you get the most out of them?
Okay. So essentially, film festival has been very, very, very useful. You know, for me as a talent and as a film producer, because it has exposed me to other international contacts where I can collaborate with them on projects and also for my social network. I've been able to meet a lot of people, and I've been able to actually visit countries that I wouldn't otherwise visited. You know, like Canada, when I got the Canada Award of Merit, it was Return of the Dawn that was nominated, and then I had to fly to Canada. You know, I went to Cannes Film Festival twice through Return of the Dawn. Um, you know, so Paris um, took my film and showed on their film festival, even though that was during COVID. I couldn't attend, but we had to do it remotely on online cinema. Yeah, so it just exposes you to different you know, countries and networks of filmmakers. Return of the Dawn was chosen for Durban and International Film Festival in South Africa. Um, Again, that was amazing because it's crossing territories. It's crossing territories. It had, you know, awards and nominated in LA. I've never been to LA before, but because of Return of the Dawn, I went to LA. And then when I went to LA, I shot a project whilst I was there, which was very inspiring because I saw myself in Hollywood, which I've never been to Hollywood before, and I'm here going there to pick up an award. So it was great, you know. And then Houston, I went to Houston again, got an award, you know. And I've got, you know, recordings of all this in my YouTube channel, interviews that I had. And yeah, so Film Festival has been very, very useful. And it's good to, once you've done your film, to make a list of film festivals that would be useful to you, depending on their criteria. And then you submit your film. You may get some rejections. It doesn't mean every film festival you submit will accept your film. But if your work is good, you're gonna get someone that will select your film, and from there you can start planning to fly over there and see other people enjoy the film that you made, and you know, build network.
Sounds really good. And talking more about the Return of the Dawn, how different was what you originally a vision for the film and being like, and how it eventually turned out?
Okay, so essentially, I didn't expect it to be as massive as it turned out to be. But once I started, there was no going back. I started and then I started, because some people won't come out until they feel something is really happening. And then once something is happening, it's live, your project is live, then more people attach themselves to it. And then even whilst you're producing, you get a new contact, say, oh, this person would like to offer you this and that. And, and I never actually had the helicopter scene in the movie screenplay. But whilst we were doing it, someone made contact with someone that runs a helicopter trade, and then they say, okay, they will do us a good deal, and we quickly go in. I wrote the script to add to that the opening scene where we now had to fly a helicopter. Before that, I've never been in a helicopter before, ever. Again, that gave me the opportunity to be in a helicopter for the very first time. So that's what film does. It gives you experience that you probably only thought about, but it happens in reality through sometimes network and contacts. So those are the things that happen with Return of the Nun. Yeah.
Nice. And yes, talking about your script, when do you know that the script is ready to shoot, and what is your process of getting it there?
Okay, so basically when you do a script, excuse me, when you have a script, you basically send it. If you are a screenwriter, you finish, you send it to someone like a script editor to read and write a feedback. It could be a very good script writer as well, who will now, instead of them writing the script, they are editing your script. They look at the gaps to see whether your story is making sense. So when they finish, they will make notes for you and say, okay, these are the good area, the weak area, the typos, certain things, and they will give you their own opinion about the script. Then it's for you to now go back and develop more. And if you feel that you had it, you're not really able to give that script anymore because you feel you spent a lot of time, you can hire a script editor to help you develop on that basis. They might even include additional materials to make the script come out strong, so long as the original idea remains. So you build it, and if you send the script to a producer, they might say, well, we're going to do this script if you agree to it being optioned, right? Optioning meaning they will have some elements they want to be written inside the script. And even if it wasn't in your original idea, they say they want it in there because they want to be able to sell the movie to a certain audience or certain genre or stuff like that. And they want a combination of that genre inside the script. They might, depending on what you can negotiate. Or they might just take the script as it is and say that's absolutely fine. So by the time you know that the script is ready, is when everybody, not everybody, when the decision makers says, yeah, they're happy to produce it. They might say, okay, we're happy, but can you tweak here, here, there? So you have different drafts, different versions. You can have version 1, version 2, version 3. Yeah, and when the director is on board, director might have their own vision that they also want to put in the script on the story, and then the script could change again. So it's more like a working document, you know? Yeah. But if it's really bad, then it will be an outright rejection and say, no, no, no. Because the story does not have, you know, the elements that you need to have in the story. What is this? Who is at stake? What is at stake, you know, in the story? What is, who is your protagonist, antagonist? What do they want? What is the conflict? You know, yeah. So those are the things. What does your lead character? What does he or she? What does he want? What does she want? What is it that she wants? And what is preventing her from getting to that thing that she desires? And then that's where your story goes. But if there's no conflict, so the audience would know what is it that this character wants, and they find it difficult to have empathy for the character. Yeah, so if you clearly from the beginning of your story establish clearly what is it, who is your character, what is it that they have, what is at stake here, you know, and how do they go about it, and what is preventing them from going about it, what is preventing them. Then you have a hook. Somebody can then say, okay, let's see. And then we can follow the character. But you've got to establish that from the beginning so that you don't lose the audience.
Okay. You're well known for your contribution to the promotion of a positive image of Africa and Africans worldwide in arts. And my question is, do filmmakers have any responsibility to culture? And do you feel that being a creative person requires that you give back or tell a particular story? Um,
Yes, yeah. You have a responsibility, you know, because as a filmmaker, you could be seen as an influencer, you know, somebody that influences certain behavior, certain culture, certain, you know, people could through you visit a country if you tell the story maybe about the, you know, goodness of that country and all the nice things that the country has. If you do that, most Americans filmmakers, they always like to put America as the greatest. They tell stories showing nice things about America, how America conquered the world, how America, British, you know, filmmakers also try to do that. You know, they show James Bond, for example, always trying to show nice why Britain is super and, you know, and stuff like that. So through film, as a filmmaker, you have to stand for something, and you need to always uh, you can be seen as something that people take seriously. Your views matter, and as you have followers, you have audience, people listen to you. It might take time before you get to the scale where I have many people recognizing what you do, but you still have some people that will go and watch your work and they look up to you. So you have a reason to always give back, you know, in a positive way, and help to make, um, where possible, make the world a better place. You know, yeah. So you have that responsibility uh, to do that. Yeah, yeah.
in your opinion, what is your greatest achievement to date?
Okay, my excuse me.
So,
My greatest achievement would be the the knowledge I've built up over time, which I can leverage on. So I've come a long way and I've learned few lessons. You know, I may not be where I want to be at the moment, but I know where I'm going. And I'm happy that I've achieved that um, process. It may not be physical, tangible things people can say, okay, these are the main achievements, but it's something that within me that I know that, um, if I know what I know today, maybe 10 years ago, things would have been a whole lot different by now because there are things I would have done differently. So, but I'm there. I know what I know now. I now need to leverage what I know now to what I want to get, where I want to get in 5 to 10 years' time. So that would be what I would say my biggest achievement is knowledge I have right now, which I'm utilizing. For example, writing my book, I didn't write it before I made the film. I made the film, and then three years later, I'm writing a book about the film because of the knowledge that I acquired. And when I publish the book, I'll become a published author, which I will now add to my resume that I'm actually I've published a book. It's not easy to write a book and publish the book, So it's based on that knowledge to be able to say, you know what, let me get this done. I wasn't easy, but it's one of those things, yeah. So publishing a book, to me, I've always sort of commended those who were able to actually write a book and publish it because I know it's not that easy. So for me, especially coming out of lockdown, to come out and say, here's my feature film, here is the book to the feature film, and everybody can read it. You'll be on ebook, you'll be on hardback, you'll be on UK libraries, you'll be online on Amazon and different bookshops. I already have 2 publishers who are interested in the book. They seen it and they want to negotiate. And it's my first book. So to me, it's awesome. I feel good. Yeah.
What is your book called?
Return of the Dawn.
Oh, yeah, so it's by the name. Oh, okay, by the movie. Wow. Okay. Very good. And probably that would be the last question that I have for you today. What advice would you give to someone who wants to have a life creating film?
Okay. The advice would be I always say, have a roadmap. I always say that have a roadmap, try and understand what is it that you want to achieve in life, and draw it up like a diagram, and even though you can always change the end result, when you're close to achieving it, you can always adjust it, have an idea what is it you want to do, because that will help you to focus and not be so distracted. I've seen people that one minute they want to do the XYZ, meet them 2 months later, it's completely changed. They are now thinking of doing X, Y, another set of things. So there's no continuity there because they are not sure what is it they want to do. So they live by the day. But if you want to come into this industry, understand clearly which area that you feel that you're gonna have more passion, and then get yourself time, set out time to train and mobilize yourself towards achieving your goal. And if you have access to a mentor, go for it. Make the most of it. Don't, leverage on your mentor if you have one. Leverage on it. Don't shy away and, struggle when you have access. Make the most of it and stay, be consistent. Stay consistent, and you go far. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you very much, Malcolm. And I really believe your book is going to be a big success.
Thank you.
And good
Thank you
luck
very
with
much.
it. And yes, thank you very much for allowing me to interview you. It's been amazing.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Awesome. All right. You take care.